What are some of the top selling names in wrestling cards right now? A rare Bryan Danielson card. I hope you're hungry because we've got some wrestling food issues stuff and a little bit of controversy behind one of the highest selling AEW Upper Deck cards we've seen released. This is the Wrestling Card Market Watch for January 2022. What's up, wrestling fans, trading card collectors? Welcome to another episode of Wrestling with Cards. And it's another market watch. I'm your host, Zhan. You can check me out on social platforms at Zhan Morning. We've started off hot in 2022 with some big sales and some big cards. And we're going to get into a few of those sales and those cards today. Each month I do one of these videos going back and looking at some interesting sales and cards that we've seen that have sold in the past month. Just doing this to help you, the wrestling card community, better navigate the hobby so you know what to buy and what's hot and what prices are. But before we get into that today, just a few reminders of how you can help show your support for my content. Easiest thing you can do, you're already watching right now, hit that subscribe button and give me a like on this video if you're enjoying what I'm doing. Tell somebody about the channel. It's one of the better ways to help grow the community and get more people into wrestling cards. Check out the podcast I'm a part of, the Wrestling with Cards podcast, just a solo podcast I do that's a little bit different than these videos, as well as the Worlds Collide podcast with myself and Tony Vella. We get together once a week to talk all things wrestling. If you would like to be a member of the Wrestling with Cards Patreon community for as little as $1 a month, you can join and get your name in the credits of some of these videos, gain access to exclusive content, and much more. You can also check out my eBay store. I've got a lot of cards as little as 99 cents all the way up to some mid to higher end slabs if you're interested. And of course, there are social platform links and links to buy me coffee if you so choose. Again, everything is below in the show notes. So when I start doing the research for these videos, I'm not only looking at top sales or cool cards or some cards that have like talking points that I think you should know about. I also like to look at trends. And for this month, when I started doing some research, I started seeing a lot of the same names and the same cards popping up over and over again. And I just want to take a second to talk about those as we start off this show. I get asked a lot, who's the best to invest in? What card should I start buying? Or I'm just getting into wrestling cards and I don't know where to start. So not talking price or grade or anything like that. Here are some of the names and some of their cards that are standing out as constant sales that are popping up all the time, every month. And a lot of people say the market dictates the rookie cards. Some of these will be rookie cards, but as you'll see, it's the same cards usually over and over again. So start with The Rock, Cardinal Trivia, Bumblebee football card, and then numerous autos out there that you could look at. Next up will be Hulk Hogan. The Cosmos is really popular right now. 85 Tops, number 1 would be the other one. I would put the 82 All-Stars on here, but we know that just sells quite a bit. It's one of the most popular wrestling cards of all time. Ric Flair. Again, the Cosmos has been really popular lately, and then of course the 82 All-Stars is kind of his go-to card. Andre the Giant, the 82 All-Stars, of course, but the 73 Wrestling Annual card is getting a lot of buzz lately, and it's starting to be more popular with both wrestling card collectors and just mainstream collectors. Again, these are based on a lot of recent sales I've seen, completely unbiased opinion. Recently on the Worlds Collide podcast, myself and Tony Vella talked about the Mount Rushmore of wrestlers to invest in. If you haven't already, go back and check out that episode. It was a really fun exercise. And while I'm not a financial advisor, that exercise kind of ties into what we're talking about here. So I hope that information has helped a little bit as far as like people that have asked me, what do I buy? What's the best card? What sells a lot? And the thing is, if you like these cards and you can afford them, I say go for it. But I'd say there's a huge pocket of people out there that are saying, hey, these cards are too expensive for me. I can't do this right now. And that's no problem at all. But what I would do is I'd look at these names that I've listed and then start looking at some of their cheaper stuff. Maybe stuff that's sub $500, maybe sub $100. Maybe it's a set or a card that features these talent that people are not thinking of yet that's maybe rare, numbered, scarce, etc. Again, just something to consider. 2004 BBM Daniel Bryan American Dragon BGS 9.5 rookie card, $1,800. However, a best offer of $1,525 was accepted. So a couple of things with this one. Let's start with the name. Bryan Danielson, or Daniel Bryan, whatever you want to call him, is not a name that I think a lot of people associate with a card that's selling for over $1,000. But clearly he's got some fans, and I think this sell is awesome. It's always awesome to see cards sell for several hundred or several thousand of wrestlers that aren't really the big names that we see all the time. You know, there's some people that get really tired of seeing those same All-Stars or Cardinal Trivia or whatever it is just over and over again. So this is a breath of fresh air. Now let's look at the card itself. I like the card. It's a pretty cool card. But the thing that makes this card stand out is the rarity of it. And sure, it's just a base card, I know. And in this case, it's graded, so that's cool. But it's the fact that the card just rarely pops up. You don't see it that often. Now, it's not like a one-of-one type of rarity or anything like that. But this isn't something that seems like you can just go out and pick one up anytime you want. Like, 87 Topps Bret Hart's or 1990 Classic Hulk Hogan. You can find those all out there. But if you just go to your Google machine and you type this in, probably not going to come up as often as you think. Second thing I want to talk about is the slab on this. BGS, Beckett Grading. If you're just now coming into the wrestling card space, you'll probably have noticed that there are a lot of people out there on social media, and there's some podcast influencers, if you want to call them out there, saying PSA is the only way, PSA is the main way to go. And again, kind of true if you're looking at it from a value perspective. And there's a lot of people that are down on BGS as a company overall. The way that they've ran their customer service and how their slabs don't sell as well as PSA. We're even starting to see SGC slabs kind of overtake Beckett as far as like volume and even some pricing. But what I see here is opportunity. And you guys know if I see opportunity, I try to take it. I own several BGS wrestling cards and I love them. There are a lot of people out there who will say buy the card, not the holder. To an extent that's true, but I think it also depends on the type of card you're looking at when you're looking at some of the slabs and comparing. I think there's great opportunity in BGS and SGC slabs, but it kind of depends on the intent of what you're going for with the card itself. Are you buying it because you're a true collector, that's a card you want, and it's authenticated in a slab? Then by all means, go for it. BGS, SGC, PSA, all good. Now that being said, if you're trying to make some money, don't want to use that flipper term, just did. But if you're just trying to transact, PSA really seems to be where it's at. But then you get into the whole discussion of, well, it's actually cheaper to submit to these other companies sometimes at PSA. We're not going to go into that today. But again, intent of the card kind of depends on what slab you can get. But again, there's a lot of opportunity here. PSA still king, probably will be for the foreseeable future. But as I've said, there's a lot of opportunity out there because of all of the kind of negative talk that we've heard about BGS, also a little bit SGC, although that's kind of changing. So much opportunity out there to go out and buy some of these rare cards or PC ads or authentic autograph cards in a BGS slab that may cost you double or triple in a PSA slab. So if you see a card you want or an autograph or whatever it is in a BGS slab and it's affordable and you like it, pick it up. Because just remember, not every single thing has to be in a PSA slab to be worthy of being in your collection. Lot of 1987 Hostess Munchies full set, 4,000 Canadian, but a best offer of 2,430 Canadian was accepted, which is around $1,908.81 USD. So a little bit of background on these. The complete set of these includes 20 of the stickers. They were only released in Canada, and they're about an inch and a half by an inch and a half, approximately. Very small stickers. They came encased in a plastic wrapper because they were put in chip bags, so they didn't want to get all the chip residue on the stickers. I don't see that many people talking about these stickers in this set, but clearly there's a demand if somebody's willing to pay this much for those. Most of the companies will grade these, and I do think they look pretty awesome in slabs, especially the SGC slabs, because they have a inlay within their slab that fits smaller cards perfectly. All the names that you would expect from the late 80s WWF are in here. These are also very similar to the 1988 WWF Tag Team of the Year stickers, which I actually still have a few of these that I've had since I was a kid, and they still have partial wrapping on them. Now, to be honest, I'm kind of surprised someone paid this much for these stickers. Also kind of surprised that there's apparently a demand for these. A lot of these oddball releases or food issue products, they don't get a lot of the spotlight, and they don't get a lot of attention from collectors. They don't get the credit that the big money-drawing headline cards get. So a lot of the people in the wrestling card hobby, they go after the gold refractors, they go after 82 All-Stars, but they don't even stop and consider some of these oddball products. And does that mean that there won't be a market for them? Clearly, based on this sale, there is a market for them. So again, another one of those things for you to think about, if you can't afford the huge thousands of dollars of cards, and you still want to try to kind of find some undiscovered territory, so to speak, within wrestling cards, here's an option. Just nice to see something different with pretty good price tag. Upper Deck AEW Kenny Omega dotted line autograph, $9,999. However, a best offer of $2,500 was accepted. As many of you know, Upper Deck has released its official product as of January. Some of the biggest buzz I've ever seen around a wrestling card release. I've seen good, I've seen bad, and I've seen everything in between when it comes to how the wrestling card community has responded to this release. But before we talk about the actual sale of this card, let's look at the pack odds. The dotted line autos had pack odds of 1 in every 1,536 packs. So a very rare card. Well, one of our very own in the wrestling card hobby, Tony, who is at Cardboard Picker on Twitter, very involved with the wrestling Twitter community. He's the one that actually pulled the card. We saw the number it sold for, as I just read to you. Tony said it was a completed sale. Yet many people kind of chirp back at him saying, "Oh, this isn't a real sale. This is fake. That's a fake card. That's not going to get paid for. This card is not worth that much money." So I figured, you know what? I'll just reach out to the man himself. So here's a quick clip and a response video from Tony at Cardboard Picker on Twitter, who actually sold this card.
Tony at Cardboard Picker on Twitter. Give me a follow if you haven't. Little quick story on the Kenny Omega. My son and I pulled it on the Friday of release week. Got 6 boxes in. Pre-ordered 3 boxes 2 times. I could tell they were different because the seals were different on 3 and 3. So I think they pulled the 3 and then they pulled another 3. That's what I think. I pulled the Omega 4 packs into a 6-box break, and I knew I should have stopped. But I didn't. But yeah, I pulled the Omega. I was going to keep it. I didn't see any pulled on Twitter, any on Instagram. I'm like, I should probably get this out and see if I can capitalize on first to market. I put it on eBay at $10,000. Not knowing, I wasn't gonna get $10,000, but I didn't know anything about it. Let's see what happens. So I put it at $10,000. A gentleman out of Texas contacted me. I ended up selling it for $2,500. A lot of people thought that sale was ridiculous. I guess I didn't, because they were 1 in 96 boxes. I mean, it's not easy to pull, and it was Omega. It was a good one, a clean signature. But yeah, I ended up selling it for $2,500. Bought, paid, positive feedback left. All good, completed sale. A little nervous. I mean, there's one on eBay. I think it's at $800 with not sold yet. So there's probably one super Kenny Omega collector out there, and I found him. So yeah. But also I want to say this: as of that sale, I used my new scanner, and I didn't put my name in the picture, and that card has been used 4 or 5 times now to try to sell it, my picture and description. So as a disclaimer, the card is bought and sold. I should have put my name in it, but I didn't.
There you have it, straight from the guy that pulled the card and then sold the card. So a couple of things here. Number one, some of these sales that you see on eBay or any other platform, sometimes they actually do get paid for. Meaning there are people out there that are slowly but surely starting to spend money on wrestling cards. You've heard me talk about this on numerous podcasts and interviews and these videos I do. Why are people not willing to spend more money on wrestling cards? Could we be turning that corner right now? The second thing I want to talk about is the feedback that this card got. As I stated, there was a lot of backlash on social media to the sale of this card. And I think that was for a few reasons that people may not be thinking of. Could it be that the negative response to this card and this sale and the amount it sold for was from people who actually wanted the card themselves? And because they didn't pull the card, or because they're not willing to put in the work to flip and grind and do whatever it takes to raise up money to buy this card themselves, they said, oh, it's not worth it. They rather just complain that it's overpriced and how they still can't find AEW retail blasters. Could it be that the negative response to this sale and this card was from people who are holding other cards that they deem more valuable than this card long term, and are either just pumping up their own stuff or protecting the stuff that they have and thinking the value of that is more important, so we're going to trash this over here? Could it be that the negative responses to this sale and this card came from those who strictly watch and collect WWE? In my opinion, I think all 3 of these things could be the case. Just remember, if a card sells, that's worth what that person wanted to pay for. It doesn't matter what you think, it doesn't matter what I think. If that's the value, that's the value. As always, there could be underlying factors, but if it's paid, it's paid. Either way, I think this is a cool card and a heck of a sale. And once again, thank you to Tony at Cardboard Picker on Twitter for sending in this response video and being very transparent about the sale and everything that took place. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that subscribe button. Give me a like on this video and tell somebody about the channel. We're trying to bring more wrestling card collectors and wrestling fans into the hobby. And before you go, check the links in the show notes to all the ways that you can help show your support for my content. And until next time, click the videos on the screen for more great wrestling card content. We'll see you in those videos.